I've been sent another couple of videos about cyclists and near passes with other vehicles. Now, this one in particular that I'm going to talk about here, I will link in the description below, originally from Twitter to credit the origin of the video. Now, many of you love cycling. I'm a cyclist myself. But I'm well aware that many drivers are frustrated with cyclists in that they have to give them lots of room, they're difficult to get past, and they generally slow up the traffic. Now, I'm very well aware of the frustrations between drivers and cyclists. Whether drivers themselves are cyclists as well, sometimes the case might be. But in this particular case, I think the near pass is so close that it really warranted some further action by the police. Although, according to the Twitter post, no further action was authorised by the police. Let me take you through the video clip and I'll give you my thoughts as we go along. So just to illustrate right from the outset, I can pause already and say that this van is doing exactly what it should be doing. It is giving clear enough space for the cyclist to ensure its safety and literally is on the opposite side of the road, obviously having waited until it's clear to pass. Likewise, the vehicle that follows up behind the van and then the other van behind that. But this is where we get the problem. You'll see that the next van passes with almost no space whatsoever between it and the cyclist. If we replay that once again, you'll see that there is only half of the lane left for the cyclist, which is, in my view, extremely dangerous and not giving the amount of space legally required. So as you'll be aware by now, if you've watched my channel for any length of time, I've done various videos criticising the rules of the road and the highway code and the hierarchy with cyclists. That's not to say that I think that drivers shouldn't have to give cyclists the room and space. I absolutely do. They do need the room and space to be safe. But my criticism previously of the highway code rules with the hierarchy is sometimes that when vehicles are turning left, turning right, they have to wait and stop for people crossing the road or other cyclists that may be coming across or may be going past. Mainly not because I'm criticising the rules themselves, but mainly because a lot of people are not aware of these rules. And if some people are aware of the rules, they choose not to follow them anyway. And so there's this disparity between what the rules are and whether everybody on the road is complying with those rules. Because it takes really everybody to be complying with the same rules, to be essentially on the same page as each other, so that this all works as a flow. I remember being taught to drive while I was still at school, because I did my driving test 3 weeks after I turned 17. And the teacher at the time said, driving is a flow. You are in a flow of traffic. It's not just you and the road and you versus everybody else. You are in a traffic flow. And to my mind, this is the case not just for vehicles, but for any road user, and that includes pedestrians. Everybody on the road and using the road should think of it as a road flow and using the roads for the purpose of getting from one place to another. And it only really works if everybody is complying with the same rules. So in cases such as this, where we have a cyclist which is clearly and blatantly being near passed by this health vehicle, really they need to be pulled up on not complying with the rules. Now, one of the comments in the Twitter thread said, I quote, "He was nowhere near you." Well, I disagree. I think this van was very close to the cyclist. You can see from the distance of the roads, which we've discussed in the video, this van driving past left the cyclist virtually no space for safety whatsoever. The cyclist could have just reached out and touched the van. It was that close. So that's absolutely not acceptable. Whether you like cyclists or not, cyclists are going to increase in numbers on the road because of green initiatives and more people choosing to cycle as opposed to paying for fuel. So I would urge you all, if you are passing cyclists on the road like this, to give the cyclists that little bit more space than you think is necessary, because this was one clear example of when there was not enough space given, but also an example of where the police just didn't do anything to follow this up, and I believe that the police should. Now, there are always two sides to a story, obviously, but when you see a clip like this, the facts are that the van was too close to the cyclist, and so it was unsafe and something should have been done about it, but nonetheless it wasn't. So please do continue to send me these clips for me to comment on them. I think it's useful to discuss this and to raise awareness of these rules. So please do also remember to like this video and subscribe, and in the meantime, thank you for watching.